Chapter 16 Trouble in Paradise. Crysta was worried when she heard that Pips and the Beetle Boys had taken Zack for a ride around FernGully. She raced after them, hoping she'd find Zack before he was in too much trouble. She knew Black Rock Cutting or Thunder Falls were the most likely places to find them, so she took off down the creek in that direction. But before she'd gone very far, she saw Magi Lune floating ahead of her. Crysta wondered what had brought Magi out of her beech tree forest, and she was surprised to see her weighed down with a heavy basket. Crysta couldn't wait to tell Magi everything that had happened since she last seen her. But when she caught up to her at Fossil Bend, the old fairy didn't give her a chance to say anything. "Good. You're turning up whenever I need you these days. Don't tell me you're becoming responsible, Crysta."
Well, I was really looking for Pips and the Beetle Boys,
Crysta confessed. "The point is, you are with me now. How you got here really isn't important." Magi handed Crysta her basket. "I need your help. Patty is ill. Sandy and Wilkia brought in an angle-headed dragon earlier this morning. I was doing what I can, but until I know the cause of the sickness, it's hard to treat."
but they'll be all right, won't they?
"I certainly hope so," said Magi, hurrying to collect fungi spore and flower pollen, which she asked Crysta to carry in her pouch. "I need to find a remedy for the sickness. There is a poison in the wind, and the rain is starting to burn. I've never encountered anything like it before." Magi hurried ahead of Crysta and swept into the beech tree forest. When they arrived at her home, Crysta was shocked to see Ock and Rock standing watch over 5 motionless little bodies. Her friends! They looked seriously ill. Slider was propped up against the trunk of the tree. Beside him lay Drags, Patty, and a yellow-breasted robin called Silky. A baby echidna and a snake were lying next to them.
What happened?
She asked, rushing up to Slider.
"I'm all right, Crysta," he whimpered. "It's Patty I'm worried about. Mel left him with me at Myrtle Falls while she carried a load back in her pouch for Stump. I stayed awake to help out. If Patty dies, I'll never forgive myself."
Patty isn't going to die. Did he eat any go-to-sleep leaves?
"No. He just said he felt dizzy and got weaker every hop. I pushed him back here, and then he collapsed."
Slider's soft brown eyes were wide with concern.
"We ran into Silky along the way, and she said she felt sick too. I didn't know where you were, so I brought them here."
You did the right thing, Slider. Lucky for them you were around.
"Well, at least we know one thing," said Magi, plucking a tiny feather from Silky's wing and hurrying inside her house. "They were all outside FernGully when they fell sick."
But what would make them this sick?
Crysta asked, following Magi inside and watching while Magi prepared a mixture of herbs. "Silky's feathers show she's been exposed to a very strong poison," Magi replied, nodding towards the feather she'd placed beside her diamond-shaped crystal. "It can only be Hexxus. I feel his energy getting stronger. What I can't make out is how Hexxus can be growing so fast. For now, I can reverse the effects of his poison, but if he gets any stronger, this whole forest is in great danger." Crysta was shocked.
But you told me there wasn't a force in nature that could release Hexxus.
"I said there wasn't a natural force that could release him. There's something most unnatural about all this," she said, unfurling a bark scroll and concentrating on the symbols engraved on it. She sighed, looking up at Crysta. "I'm too old for this, to reverse the power of Hexxus,
so much energy is needed.
But surely you can stop him.
Alone, my power is limited. When I defeated Hexxus before, I was young and strong, and I had the support of the whole forest behind me. Things are very different now.
Magi went outside and attended to the sick animals. She gave each of them a mouthful of the creamy green mixture she'd prepared. While she fed them, she summoned her healing powers through the tips of her fingers. One by one, the animals stirred and opened their eyes.
Slider, where are you?
Cried Patty, sitting up and rubbing his eyes.
I'm right here, Patty,
said Slider, scampering towards him. Silky fluffed out her feathers.
Hello, Crysta.
She chirped.
I had a horrible dream.
The python suddenly hissed and slithered silently away. The echidna stretched her quills and asked shyly,
What happened to me?
Only Drags remained motionless. Nothing Magi could do had any effect on the angle-headed dragon.
He's in shock,
said Magi. I'll keep him here with me. Crysta, you and Slider see Silky, Trina, and Patty home as quickly as you can. And tomorrow, I want you to collect some crystals from the Blue Grotto. I'll need to prepare a lot of remedies in case this poison spreads.
Of course,
said Crysta, willing to do anything the old fairy said.
Better not say anything about this trouble for the moment. We don't want everyone to panic,
Magi said, hurrying Crysta out of the beech tree circle. Crysta set off home, feeling very confused. As she trekked through the forest beside the baby echidna, the sun cast its long afternoon shadows around them. She'd hoped she'd get back to Old High Rise before dark. No one would give Trina a lift, because her spikes were too prickly, and that slowed them down. Crysta wished she'd told Magi about Zack and the Silent Forest, but she smiled to herself when she thought how surprised Magi would be tomorrow. She made up her mind to take Zack with her to the Blue Grotto, then after that, on to Magi Lune's. When she led her young team into Sleepy Hollow, Slider said he'd keep an eye on Trina while Crysta hurried ahead of them to check on Little Hoop. But when she saw Little Hoop, she saw there was something dreadfully wrong. The tree had grown very tall. It was already taller than any other tree in Sleepy Hollow, but it was as thin as a twig. Crysta knew at a glance that it was about to topple over.
Oh, Little Hoop! I know I wanted you to be the tallest tree in the forest, but not like this.
Stoneface looked grim, with not a trace of a smile on his rugged face.
Stoneface, tell me what to do.
But he didn't say anything. He just stared in stony silence. Crysta felt dreadful as she knelt beside Little Hoop, closed her eyes, and touched its skinny trunk.
I know I've done something wrong, and I'm really sorry, Little Hoop. Please forgive me. I take back what I said. I don't care how tall you grow. I just want you to be the strongest tree in the forest.
When her eyes opened, she thought she heard a sigh of relief from Little Hoop. When she turned to Stoneface, she thought she saw a smile.
Wow, you've got to be careful what you say around here,
she said, brushing fallen leaves off the top of the rock's moss-covered head.
No wonder you keep your mouth shut.
She waved goodbye to both of them, promising to return tomorrow, and caught up to the others as they were crossing the creek at Python Rock. Trina, Echidna's mother, was waiting for her.
Oh, thank you, Crysta,
she said.
I've been worried sick. Trina is at that age where she wanders off by herself all the time. This time she's been away since New Moon.
Without Trina slowing them down, they covered the distance from Python Rock to Old High Rise quickly. Patty darted through the forest in sudden bursts of speed, at times dashing so fast that Slider had trouble keeping up with him. When Patty found his mother, he squealed with delight and scrambled headfirst into her pouch. Silky flew off to her nest in a nearby tangle of lawyer vines. Crysta and Slider arrived at Old High Rise as the sun was setting. Crysta found Zack sitting on a branch beside Blackbeak. Her mother was fussing over him, healing cuts and bruises on his arms and legs. Batty was hanging directly above, watching Zack suspiciously.
"This poor young thing is all roughed up," said her mother. "What's wrong with Pips? He should know better than to take a newcomer to Crawling Rock. It's the most dangerous part of the forest."
"Don't worry about me. I'm okay." Zack grinned and made a place on the branch for Crysta to sit beside him. "But I don't think your boyfriend likes me too much."
He's not my boyfriend.
Crysta muttered, glowing in the twilight.
"I've made Zack a bed in the spare hollow above us," said her mother, before disappearing inside the tree.
"Oh no!" bleeped Batty. "Hang a fang, Cristabellis! Don't take that inside your home! You'll be semi-quavered!"
"Stop flapping your beak," squawked Blackbeak. "If he's a mate of Crysta's, he must be okay."
We've had quite enough excitement for one day.
Screeched Queenie from her staghorn nest below them.
It's time to settle down.
I agree,
Yawned Crysta.
Come on, Zack. I'll show you where you can sleep.
"Oh, no, 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 no!" bleeped Batty, covering his head with his wings as Zack disappeared through the fungus doorway with Crysta.
No, 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 no. Lucy,